in a moment of time. And we had in Al Jazeera our own experience when we did publish the secret memos of negotiations between the Palestinians and the Israelis by the beginning of 2008, what we call Palestine Papers. And Palestine Papers were leaked to us by someone working within the Palestinian negotiations team, who was entrusted on the minutes, the actual minutes of daily negotiations for 10 years between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And that gentleman, he was overwhelmed by the importance of these documents and the amount of secrecy within it that contradicts the Palestinian national aspirations. And in a moment of time, he decided that he cannot live with this kind of heavy burden on his shoulders. This is a historical responsibility that he is witnessing. He cannot live with it. So he went to us and he said, guys, take this. When I read a few thousand pages actually of negotiations, I was alarmed by the amount of secrecy that was deliberately put aside from the Palestinian people. And the amount of knowledge in these documents and what it tells you about the psychology of negotiations taking place is great. To an extent that for the sake of the truth and Palestine and the negotiations and peace, people should know about it. So immediately we ordered that it should be translated from English into Arabic, and after 6 months of a lot of work from a special team that was designated in order to work with these documents, we were able to publish it to the world in coordination with the Guardian at that time. And it was shocking for everyone who was monitoring the Palestinian negotiations, Palestinian-Israeli negotiations, to read the real truth about it. Why did states hide what was happening? Because something was wrong. Why did they go crazy when we published them, accusing Al Jazeera of all kinds of accusations? Because they were doing something they didn't want the people to know about it. So simple logic. If you are negotiating that conflict in a good spirit, why don't you want people to know about the issues that you are negotiating about? Because you were doing something thinking that you can, with time, do and achieve without knowledge of the public. And in my opinion, that is bad governance, that is bad politics. This is a conspiracy against people, and this is a conspiracy against the truth. We have a responsibility as journalists to celebrate whoever is in fact providing us, or every source that is endangering sometimes his career, sometimes their lives, in order to put the truth in front of the people. The great journalists that all of us remember and celebrate in the world are those who dedicated their time and effort for the people, for locating human being at the center of their editorial policy, not powers, not commercial interest at the center of their editorial policy. We tried that in Al Jazeera, and we faced, because of that, a lot of attack from political actors in the region. Governments put us in jail. Almost every single government in the Arab world imprisoned in a moment of time a correspondent or a bureau chief or a cameraman or someone belongs to Al Jazeera. Almost every single government in the region did shut down Al Jazeera bureau in a moment of time. But later on they will reopen it again because of certain circumstances. It is a game, a huge game. But the most important thing, not to lose in the fight against centers of power, not to lose the fact that you are entrusted on the truth and entrusted with the mind of the public, and you can never betray them, regardless of what consequences you are going to face. If you cannot really live up to the expectation, leave. You don't have to continue. But the worst form of journalism is journalism that deceives the public. Journalism that is there to cover up, or to frame a story, or to utilize our technology for the sake of empowering centers of power in the wrong direction. We are, again, representing the public rather than centers of power. That is necessary to keep in mind, and that is not easy to operate upon it. I know it's not easy. I know how difficult, how complicated. When you go to every country, are you chased away from the airport? when every intelligence agency is monitoring you, when everyone is trying to bring you down because of what you are doing, you should remember that there are millions of people out there who will celebrate you and commemorate you and will love you and will really appreciate what you are doing. And you should remember you will sleep at night while your heart is full of peace and contentment because you have not deceived everyone and you did not deceive the public. So that is a major issue. Good governance, again, is something that still we need to see in relationship to journalism. Good governance is something that has to start as a real demand and faith within our hearts in journalism, in journalistic circles, in order to convince authorities, if we could, I'm not sure if you could, but let us try, wherever we are, to convince them that for your sake as a politician, for your sake as a ruling party, or for your sake as a government, please inform the public and be transparent. Otherwise, you are training the public to think about conspiracy theories or to get information through rumors. And that is very dangerous because it will turn to be the fatal mistake that you have committed against the nation. And this nation might become, in its demand to change the political reality, violent, not rational, and not easily managed. So, no doubt that transparency and good governance go hand in hand with long-term health of the nation, any nation. And in the Arab world, what happened? Hosni Mubarak had his own media. Every single, almost TV station and newspaper was trying its best. Of course, we had opposition, but marginalized, accused, and pushed away. But most of the media was trying to polish the image of the divinely guided leader. In Tunisia, every single newspaper and radio station and TV was full of praise of the great leader Zainul Abidin Bil Ali. And the same in Libya, that there was nothing in the country but the great leader. What happened? Did media deceive the public? No. The public are more intelligent to be deceived by wrong form of journalism. Public are more politicized to be deceived by any journalist or any mean of mass communication. They did not deceive anyone. In fact, they deceived themselves because people brought down all these leaders that were regarded as great models by journalists, unfortunately, and they brought with it journalism. And they started something from the beginning. So today we are witnessing in the Arab world emergence of a new form of journalism. We have a new challenge because our journalists now, who have been accustomed to serve centers of power, not easy for them to transfer themselves from that location into another location where they are now defending the public good. Why? Because they are not used to it. What they should do at this stage, to rehabilitate themselves. Unfortunately, some of them, because they are stubborn, they thought that in order to be good journalists means that you have to go against the government of today. So you make up for your mistakes of being part of the government of yesterday. That's also wrong. We are not here to go against governments. We are here to be the custodians of narratives, of narrating stories as they are. We are not pro and we are not against. We do not have a political stance. Once you as a journalist become politically involved, you are not trustworthy and you are not really a journalist. You are an activist. So again, I am not here to challenge government, and I'm not here to praise sing the praise of the government. I am here to monitor, narrate, and put things in context, prioritize events, and frame it in professional way. This is the major challenge that our journalists in the Arab world are going through today. We have brought down the concept of the state taking over the journalism in Egypt and Tunisia and maybe Libya and Yemen and so on, but we could not establish yet the alternative. So we have decided in journalistic circles, we don't need ministers of information anymore, finished. So we don't have ministries of information. And our constitutions now are including the most beautiful and strong articles about freedom of expression. Fantastic. But the issue is now today on us, how to upgrade our mental and technical capabilities and professional standards to act in new democracies. We cannot easily do that. We need rehabilitation, long-term rehabilitation, training. We need to start widening our perspective and think of ourselves as those who are participating in transformation in a positive sense rather than a negative sense. Now, there is a huge debate in Egypt and Tunisia, if you are following, about who is going to monitor what is professional and what is not professional. Boards that are going to be designated by national assemblies, or constitutional framework that will allow journalist freedom within legal boundaries or within professional guidance. My opinion about this debate is professionals within the institution should sit together and define the guidelines for the profession. Because if you are a journalist, you need to have guidelines like everyone else. You need to have rules of journalism that you abide by. Defamation, for example, is a crime, regardless if you are a journalist or an ordinary person. So the fact that you are a journalist doesn't give you immunity if you make mistakes. And it should not, because you are giving journalism bad name. So you are a journalist as long as you are abiding by the professional standards of journalism. And these professional standards of journalism are the things that are universally accepted, not something that every nation should develop for its own. We know that, for example, one of the simple articles that we have put in our Code of Ethics in Al Jazeera from 2004 was the differentiation between news, opinion, and analysis. So if you are a journalist narrating news, you cannot mix your opinion with it. Or you cannot mix the opinion with the news as well when you bring someone and you frame the story in certain direction. News has certain kind of rules, bubble sourcing, accuracy, all these kind of elements that we have learned in schools of journalism. But opinion has different way of expressing it. And the fact opinion is necessary to complete the picture. But the fact that you pick up one opinion and ignore other opinion is a major mistake. So you need to have the opinion and the other opinion. So having all these rules explain to the journalists and make them really implement them, this is what's going to give the profession immunity, not people. And I claim that what we need is to retrieve confidence from the public, because with time we have lost the public confidence in us. So once we retrieve this confidence from the public, we should build it on sound foundations, and then we can proceed forward hand in hand with democratic transformation to achieve healthy societies, well-informed societies, well-educated societies that could monitor centers of power and restrain them from becoming another dictatorship or another authoritarian regime. Thank you very much.